welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be my April update, talking about all the products that I've done first impressions on. None of these are going to be foundations because I'm going to make a dedicated video to that because I have so many foundations. This is all going to be complexion products, eyeshadow palettes, just other things that I've done first impressions on, dedicated videos. I will link any respected videos up above in the cards. And some of these I did try in my free time, so there's no video to it, but they were all first impressions. And now that I've had a little bit of time to spend with them, I want to just give more of my detailed thoughts on them. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. If that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Stick around. I do a lot of ranking videos, a lot of foundation videos, a lot of first impressions, and a lot of just using products that I already have in my collection. So with all that out of the way, let's just get started. I have 11 items here and I want to kind of make this quick, fast, easy, speed reviews. So let's get started. Normally when I do these update videos, I do rank all the products. I'm not really feeling like ranking them today, so I'm just not going to. When there's different categories, it kind of makes it a little bit tough to rank. I will be kind of just segmenting the items and then talking about whether I would repurchase them or not, but I'm gonna stop just rambling on and get started. The only thing that I have one of for base products is this concealer. So this is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer, not new whatsoever. I have the shade Light 40N. I picked this up because I like the ColourPop No Filter Concealer so much. I think I've gone through one tube of that and I'm almost done with my second tube. It's on my list to just finish pretty quickly here. So I was really excited when this concealer came out and I tried this in my Ciate Get Ready With Me. And, you know, it doesn't live up to the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. So quite honestly, I wouldn't repurchase this. I'll continue to use it. It's not a bad concealer and I like it. It just doesn't stand out. It's not anything remarkable that you have to run out and grab. And I want my products to be memorable. I want to remember them. I want to, when I wake up in the morning, be excited to use them. And this just doesn't fit it. I think it's okay. It gives a nice medium coverage. It's hydrating. It doesn't really crease on me. Even for the price though, I don't know. There's just something about it. The no filter is way better than this one. So I'm going to stick to that one and just not use this one anymore. And then I really only have complexion and eyeshadow palettes left. So I'm going to do eyeshadow palettes last because that's what I'm most excited to talk about. Let's do bronzer, blush, and highlight. Starting with bronzer, I have two. So this one is the Fenty Beauty Powder Bronzer. It took me a long time to try this. This is the shade Into Sun. And I like this, but for some reason, this is the Milani Silky Matte Sunlight Bronzer. I have the shade 01. I reached for this one over that one. I keep all of my first impressions kind of off to the side in a bin, so that way I know what I need to continue to test out for this video. And when I had these two bronzers, I'm trying to open it, I just continued to go back to the Milani. The Fenty's not bad. It's just a little bit more warm tone than the Milani. The Milani is a very neutral leaning cool tone. It honestly just reminds me of my Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. Here's that one. As you can see, this is in my project pan. I can link that video above, but I really like this bronzer. I think that if you like the Too Faced, this is just a good modern dupe for it. Now that I've tried the Milani, I would not repurchase the Too Faced and I would repurchase the Milani. If there ever came a day that I was to finish an entire bronzer, I would repurchase this. I can't stop reaching for this one. And so because of that, the Fenty just kind of got pushed aside. I liked this when I used it, just kind of like the ColourPop concealer, it got pushed aside. It wasn't new and shiny, so I don't know. There's just something about this I didn't love. It's good. I like it. I'm glad that I have it, just for reference especially. However, this Milani one just knocks it out of the park for me. I'm really, really liking this bronzer. It's probably like top 3 bronzer right now that I'm using. I can't stop using this. Now, moving on to blush, I also have 2 blushes and 2 highlighters. But for blush, I have the MAC blush in Warm Soul. This one's just been sitting in my bin of untried makeup waiting to be tried because it's such a hyped up blush. I know that everyone says that the original formula is so much better than the reformulated. I only have the reformulated, so I can't compare that. Now, one thing I have to say is I struggle to open this blush packaging every single time. That's just a side note, but I don't know what it is about this. It's magnetic, but I can't open it. Now that I've figured it out, I can, but every time I forget. I think it's because it has like this lip here, so I always try to pull the lip up, but the lip doesn't come with the lid. That's just a side tangent. This is nice. And then the second one I had is the Clinique Cheek Pop in Ginger Pop. Both of these are just middle of the road for me. I wouldn't say they stood out at all. So here's Warm Soul and here's Ginger Pop. Ginger Pop looks pretty bright in the pan, but I would say it's a pretty neutral blush when it's on. I like both of these. They're both nice, but I still like the Milani. Like, they don't stand out to me. If I was to rank them, I would have ranked them lower in conjunction with all the items that I'm talking about. Again, glad that I have them. Cheek Pop is a product everyone raves about, iconic product, and I'm glad that I finally tried one. I'm not mad that I have it. I like the pan embossing. It's very pretty. I don't want to sound like I don't like these products. I do like them. I just don't know if they're anything you have to like run out and grab. These two are products, I think this is the best way I can describe it, that go on your Sephora wish list or your Ulta wish list, whatever it is, and they kind of just stay there, like in wish list purgatory. I picked them up, I think probably because they went on sale, like an Ulta 21 Days of Beauty for the MAC blush. This, I'm sure I picked up when it was on sale. I'd had these on my wish list forever. Then when they went on sale, I kind of just picked them up. So they're those kinds of products, not products I was necessarily excited about, products that I just bought because they were on sale. And now going on to highlight, also to, like I mentioned. So the first one is the Buxom Wonderlust Glow Highlight in White Russian. And then the second one is this Chantecaille Highlight in Pearl Lumiere, which came out for holiday, I think 2 years ago now. Not last holiday, but the holiday before. And this is okay. Let's just start, I guess, with the Buxom. The Buxom is good. It's not that blinding. It's a very subtle highlight. The Chantecaille is also a very subtle highlight, but there's something about this. This would probably, after the Milani, I'm just trying to think, this would be in my top 3 if I was to rank all these products. To just give you an idea, this is a really nice highlight. I haven't tried a lot of Chantecaille products, and you know, I think that they're a little bit hyped up. I think they're a little bit too expensive for what they are. Granted, I haven't tried any of the eyeshadows, etc., but this highlight is really, really nice. I do really like this. I keep reaching for it. There's just something about the shine on this that's subtle but shows up. And the slight pink, I normally don't really reach for color highlights if they have like a pinky shift, anything like that. I really just like your standard champagne highlight. I'm pretty basic like that, but this just glows off the face. I really enjoyed this highlight. I'm very happy that I decided to pick it up, mainly for the compact, but it's nice to say that the product is also good and it's not just nice packaging. So I do appreciate that. And then the Buxom, you know, I'm just gonna say it again, like it kind of just ranks with these blushes. I'm pretty sure I bought this on sale. I'm gonna coin the term wishlist purgatory, I think, if that hasn't come out yet, because I think that's the perfect explanatory word for it. It just is that product that, again, sat on my wish list. And then finally, you know, I needed to add something to use my coupon, or I needed to add something for whatever reason. And I just pulled this out of my wish list and added it on. So it was all right. It is, like I said, a subtle highlight, not too blinding. So if you like that, it is nice. I'm glad that I have it, but I don't know how much I'll continue to reach for it in the future. Last up is the eyeshadow category, and I have 4 eyeshadow palettes to talk about that I've been trying and testing. Let's talk about these Odens eye ones first, because I did do a dedicated review on these. I will link that video up above. I picked the Sea Talk palette up and I picked the Flora Story palette up. I did not pick up Animal Spirit, I think is what it was called. It was just too colorful for me. I knew I wasn't gonna get my money's worth. However, after I tried these, I'm seriously reconsidering it just because I love these so much. It was my first time trying Odens cosmetics and I do not regret it. You know, I made it a New Year's resolution to just try to branch out more into indie brands, and I'm probably late to the party, but I'm so glad that I'm really trying to do that. I am now going down the rabbit hole of indies. I understand what all the hype is about. I've tried some other ones, but these are beautiful. There's something just indescribable about these shimmers. So this is Ciate, this is Flora Story. I think as of right now that I'm filming, they still have some in stock, but it is something that they won't continue to have in stock. So pick it up while you can. And I do recommend picking these up. For me, being a neutral eyeshadow lover, I'm wearing Flora Story today on my eyes. I used Shroom and then this purple, this kind of shimmer color with this one. For being a neutral lover, these are perfect. I think that they give just the perfect amount of neutral. You know, I would consider all these mattes pretty neutral here. This is the more neutral palette, but even this one, you know, this is pretty neutral. And then you have your pops, which makes you branch out. And that's what I love about these. When I talk about the shimmers just being indescribable, they're not like a very impactful shimmer, but they're not a sheer topper shimmer. They're kind of somewhat in between. You can very much build them up or sheer them out if you want to. This iridescent shell, I remember specifically I did a look with it and I loved it. It is just so beautiful. But this is like a built-up swatch. If you really just sheer it out on the back of your hand, it just, I mean, you can barely see that pink base and the shimmer, it just looks wet. I don't know. Like I said, I'm new to indie shimmers, so I know that I'm just late to that game. But if you've been hesitating, if you're also like me and you just haven't really tried a lot of indies, you need to start, I'm telling you, because these do not disappoint. One of my best purchases so far of the year, I would say. I'm very happy with both of these. And then the other two palettes that I have are good palettes, but I am actually going to declutter this, even though I've only tried it a handful of times. This is the Juvia's Place, the Taupes palette. This was just okay. I've gone back and forth because it is newer. Like, do I want to declutter this? But I really do. This is a great neutral palette. It's my first time trying Juvia's Place. I also tried this in my Ciate Get Ready With Me. It's not a bad palette. I liked all the looks I came up with, but it's a little bit muted for my taste in a neutral palette. You really, really have to build it up. I spend a lot of time building up these mattes. Surprisingly, I don't know if maybe my palette just doesn't work because I've heard really great things about the Juvia's Place formula. And I just felt like I had to build this up way more than normal. Maybe it's just my palette. I'm not writing Juvia's Place off for good because this was my first palette that I tried. I just think this palette isn't for me. The other neutral palette that I tried, this was off camera, I think. This is the Loreal Mini Pro palette in Sparkling, and it looks like this. This, I just reached for so much more over this palette, and that's why I'm just deciding to declutter it, because when I look at this palette, I get so many more looks out of this. This palette was effortless to use. I think even one time, even with these mattes, I only used my finger. I just kind of like rubbed the mattes up in my crease and then the shimmer on top, and it gave just a nice, beautiful, easy look. I didn't have to build it up with a brush, just keep building and building and building, which is what I had to do with this one. So I don't know, there's just something about this I'm not loving. I do have the Juvia's Place, the Violet palette, on my list to buy, so maybe I'll pick that one up and just see if this one was a formula issue. I'm really trying to just be tough with myself. I can't have 50 neutral palettes, even though I love neutral palettes. I want to have the best of the best for neutral, and this just wasn't it. So I'm going to find someone who can just appreciate this one a little bit more. Going back to this Loreal palette, this was also the first time that I tried Loreal, and I love the size of this. I love this palette. I actually really, really do like it. For a neutral palette, it just is perfect. This is the perfect travel companion palette. I think this is great. It actually really reminds me of the Huda Beauty Smoky Obsessions palette, and this I currently have in Shop My Stash. So here's what this looks like. I don't know if you can still purchase this, but I would venture to say this was one of Huda Beauty's best mini obsession palettes. My black fell out. I know that that happened for a lot of people, but without the black, you can see just how similar these palettes are. This is a little bit more neutral leaning cool, whereas like this matte's a little bit warmer, but outside of that, like I think these are very, very similar. You obviously have more shades, like this silver is not in this one, but this one almost looks like this one. I'm gonna swatch them just because I haven't compared them. So here is the Loreal and then here is the Huda Beauty. The Loreal is just so much smoother of a shimmer, whereas the Huda Beauty is a little bit chunky. Now this is also an older palette, so maybe the formula's changed a little bit. These are a little bit chunkier, if I remember, even when I first bought this, of shimmers. These are so smooth. So I don't know, I'm half considering, because I mention this a lot every single time in my declutter when this pops up. I'm like, I can't get rid of this palette. I love it so much. My partner bought it for me when we first started dating. It has great memories, but this palette might just replace it. I like that it's smaller. I like that none of the shades are broken, and it's just a little bit more compact. It's cute. I like the shimmers more. So we'll see when my next declutter comes up. But I think that I don't need to keep both. I can just keep one, and the Loreal is just so much better. That's all 11 products that I have to talk about. These are the products that I've just been trying, testing, using, getting better thoughts on them after my first impressions. I hope this video was a little bit helpful. Let me know down below in the comments if you also have a wish list purgatory, just things that continuously stay on your wish list that you never ever pick up. I'd love to know what those products are, and if I'm the only one that does that, just has 50 things on my Ulta wish list, on my Sephora wish list that just continues to stay there and I never pick up. I don't know why, but I don't want to forget about them. Let me know what yours are down below, but this is where I'm going to leave you. I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone.